Hey guys, quick creepy fact. Only 20% of you watching are subscribed. It's totally free and helps me write more scary stories like this one. Thank you for the support. Now let's dive right in. I've always said everyone needs a Penelope in their life. Someone who knows a guy who knows a guy. Someone who can get you into places with no name on the door and drinks that cost more than your electric bill. I've never quite figured out what Penelope actually does in the TV industry. She could be directing soap operas or running coffee for washed-up sitcom stars. But what matters is that she always has access to the good stuff. And more importantly, she brings me with her. Red carpet premieres? Check. Swanky after-parties? You bet. So when she texted me, midnight game show taping, want in? I said yes before the message had even fully delivered. Free entertainment? A mysterious show no one's ever heard of? And I get to wear my hot boots? Count me in. When she picked me up, Penelope was practically vibrating with excitement. Her eyeliner was perfect, her lipstick was war paint, and she had that manic twinkle in her eye that only ever meant one of two things. Something incredible was about to happen. Or we were about to star in a cautionary tale. No in between. Where is this thing exactly? I asked as we pulled out of the city, past familiar blocks and blinking streetlights that slowly turned into darkened warehouses and ghost town gas stations. She just grinned. Don't worry, it's legit. You say that every time, I muttered, glancing out the window. I was starting to notice the silence. No more traffic, no more neon, just empty roads and whatever was clawing at the edge of my intuition. Finally, we pulled into a cracked parking lot so choked with weeds, it looked like Mother Nature had given up and moved on. The building in front of us was massive, long-abandoned Sears vibes, all boarded windows and ivy-covered bricks like the place had been swallowed by time. You sure this isn't like a haunted escape room? I asked, eyeing the rusted signage that had definitely seen better centuries. There are other cars, Penelope said, pointing to a handful of luxury vehicles scattered across the lot like drops of blood on broken pavement. Like that was supposed to make me feel better. This is where the invite said to go. Come on. We grabbed our bags, me in last season's clearance rack jacket, her in a sequin blazer like she was born to be famous, and exchanged that one look. The one that said we'll pretend we're cool with this until something starts screaming. The front doors were propped open just enough for us to slip through. Inside, we were immediately stopped by a guy in a black suit so sharp it looked like it had never even heard of wrinkles. He was holding a clipboard like it contained the secret names of angels, or maybe who to eliminate first. Penelope flashed 2 glossy tickets and the man gave the faintest nod. No words, just that look. The kind that says you've been weighed, measured, and will be dealt with accordingly. He led us down the hallway that was fuzzy. I know how weird that sounds, but the walls were covered in something velvety, like the inside of a jewelry box. It swallowed sound, muted everything, no footsteps, no echoes. It didn't feel like a TV studio. It felt like we were walking into someone's dream, or maybe their nightmare. And then we turned the corner. It opened into a massive chamber, and I swear to God, calling it a studio would be an insult. This wasn't a set. This was a cathedral. A glowing altar of LED panels, silver rigging, and enormous screens stacked to the rafters. The stage was in the center like a modern-day coliseum, wrapped in cables that slithered across the floor like snakes hunting for feet. There were rows upon rows of chairs, at least 300, maybe more, all perfectly arranged in a spiral that circled the stage like a halo. And people. So many people already seated, murmuring in hushed tones that barely reached my ears. But what really made my stomach lurch? The clothes. Everyone was dressed like they were going to a black tie masquerade hosted by Satan himself. Floor-length gowns, tuxedos, velvet gloves, diamond necklaces that looked like they came with bodyguards. The kind of outfits you wear when you're trying to impress someone with horns and a contract. I nudged Penelope hard. What is this? She shrugged, still grinning like this was all totally normal. That guy, I pointed, practically hissing. That's Tom freaking Hargrove. He owns half the strip malls in the city. Didn't he try to build a yacht club in the desert? So, she whispered. Maybe he's a fan. A fan of what? I asked. Ritual sacrifice on public access? Then I saw more faces. The casino heiress who got indicted last year. A senator I recognized from scandal-ridden headlines. These weren't just fans. These were people with power. And then there was us, me and Penelope, in denim and TJ Maxx, surrounded by what looked like the world's fanciest death cult meetup. Something wasn't adding up, and I had that feeling. You know the one. Like you just stepped onto a roller coaster and realized too late that the seatbelt was broken. We were already in our seats when the house lights dimmed and the murmurs died. Every head turned as a tall man in a burgundy suit appeared on stage. He didn't walk, he glided, like the floor loved him and everyone else was just borrowing space. His face was cloaked in shadow from the nose up, lit just wrong so you couldn't really see him. But you could feel him. He smiled. Wide. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, voice slick and warm like it had been basted in honey, "thank you for joining us on this very special evening." His smile didn't reach his eyes, and even if it had, we couldn't have seen them anyway. "This is not your average television experience. No, he went on. Tonight's show is exclusive, reserved only for the most extraordinary guests." Penelope elbowed me, eyes sparkling. "See, I told you this was gonna be good." I didn't answer. My gut was doing gymnastics. "Now," the host said, "as tradition holds, 2 among you will be joining us on stage tonight." And that's when the dread settled in. 2 lucky souls, he continued, who will be tested, entertained, and, if all goes well, changed. The audience chuckled, but I didn't. I was too busy trying to slow my pulse. "We've hidden 2 number tags beneath the seats in this very room," he said. 2 badges waiting to be picked. Go on." His voice dropped to a whisper that somehow echoed. "Look under your chairs." The sound of rustling swept through the room like a wave. I hesitated, palms slick with sweat. Then I heard Penelope gasp. "No way," she beamed, holding up a small plastic tag. "Brenda, I got one." I stared at her wide-eyed, then slowly reached under my own chair, and felt it. Cold, smooth, blank. I pulled it out, held it up, didn't move. People were clapping around us, but their eyes weren't clapping. Their eyes were locked on us, like they weren't watching a game show, like they were watching prey. We were led down the center aisle like prize pigs at a county fair. Spotlights tracked us, bright and unrelenting. The kind of light that doesn't just highlight, it exposes. I could feel my every pore under that glow, my jacket suddenly feeling about 10 seasons too old and 2 sizes too tight. Penelope, of course, was eating it up. Smiling, waving, tossing her hair like this was the Emmys, and she was 3 drinks deep with a nomination. I, on the other hand, had full-body goosebumps and the sneaking suspicion I'd just agreed to something that would absolutely void my life insurance. The crowd didn't cheer, they didn't whistle. They just watched. And I started to realize something that should have hit me sooner. This wasn't the kind of audience you perform for. This was the kind that watches to see who breaks first. We reached the stage, and the host met us with open arms like we were old friends or fresh meat. He was grinning, again. "Congratulations, ladies," he purred, voice dripping with too much charm to be real. "What are your names?" "Penelope," she said brightly, flashing a camera-ready smile. I cleared my throat, still blinking against the lights. "Brenda." The host's teeth gleamed. "Lovely, absolutely lovely." He handed us each a thick folder. No, a packet. The kind of thing you sign when you're either buying a house or giving away your soul. "Just standard paperwork," he said casually, like we weren't now each holding what felt like a legal brick. "Disclosures, waivers, NDAs, you know how it is." I flipped through mine. Dozens of pages. Fine print. Footnotes. Symbols I didn't recognize that looked like they belonged in a summoning circle. The paper was weirdly textured, almost like skin. Penelope didn't even blink. She was already signing, looping her name with flair like she was autographing headshots. I hesitated. My fingers stopped on a folded tab marked in bold, black letters. Rules. I unfolded it. The page crackled. "Rules of conduct, midnight game show. Rule number 1. Always smile and look directly into the camera when addressed. The audience paid good money for your face. Let them enjoy it. 2. Do not scream, shout, or use foul language during the show. We maintain a classy atmosphere. Ugly sounds ruin the ambiance. 3. Do not step off your platform unless instructed. Leaving early may result in immediate disqualification, and we do mean immediate. 4. Always clap for other contestants when prompted. We're all friends here until we're not." I stared at the words, not metaphorical, not cheeky, just creepy, cold, direct. Penelope nudged me. "Brenda, come on, it's just showbiz stuff. Have you read this? I hissed. She shrugged. It's for the cameras. It's a vibe, like an aesthetic. This is giving snuff film, the musical. But she was already done, handing her packet back to one of the green-suited assistants that had materialized beside us. I looked up. The host was watching me, closely. His smile didn't falter, but something in his posture shifted. A stillness, like a predator when the wind changes. I signed, because what else do you do when you're on stage with nowhere to run? We were led to the platforms, 13 of them, lined in a perfect arc across the stage. Each one was a circle barely big enough to stand on, smooth black metal with no rails, no padding, and no escape, like pedestals in some twisted art gallery. I was placed on platform 13, because of course I was. Penelope was to my left, already bouncing in place like she was about to audition for Jeopardy! Death Edition. I wanted to say something, make a joke, break the tension before it broke me, but the lights hit again, hard. The stage was drowned in it. I squinted, raised a hand instinctively, but there was no shelter, no shadows. Beyond the glare, everything vanished. The audience, the walls, even the stage floor past our platforms seemed to dissolve into smoke and nothingness. We weren't in a studio anymore, we were floating in a glowing void. Then the voice returned. Welcome, contestants, to the midnight game show. It rang out with syrupy cheer, the kind of voice that could sell you timeshares in hell. Tonight, you'll face 4 thrilling rounds, the host continued. Tonight, you'll face 5 thrilling rounds, the host continued. The first 3 will eliminate 3 contestants each, the fourth one, only 2, and the last one. He paused, letting that sink in, until only 1 remains. Not wins, remains. My breath hitched. No mention of a prize, no car, no check, no tropical getaway with margaritas and a morally flexible bartender, just survival. By subtraction. The screen above the stage blinked to life with a glitchy jingle, cheery and off-kilter, like if a 90s game show got drunk and fell into a haunted mirror. Big red letters flashed across the screen. Everyone smile. I pasted on a smile so forced my cheeks hurt. My brain was screaming, but my mouth stretched into the world's fakest grin. Penelope beamed beside me, like this was exactly what she signed up for. The floor beneath us hissed. With a low mechanical hum, a black cylinder rose from each platform's center, topped with a screen that pulsed with static. 3, 2, 1. The host's voice dipped into full game show mode. Get ready for the speed round. A question popped onto my screen. What's the capital of France? Paris. Duh. I tapped it. How many legs does a spider have? 8. What color are school buses traditionally painted? Yellow. The questions flew. Pop culture, history, basic trivia. Stuff I could answer in my sleep. Stuff a middle schooler could ace. After 7 in a row, I frowned. It was too easy. How are we eliminating people if no one's getting anything wrong? Then, click. The screens went dark. Questions stopped. We stood in silence. Me, Penelope, and 11 strangers, sweating in the glow of 1,000 unblinking lights. The host stepped forward, eyes on his sleek black tablet. Well, my little brainiacs, he said, tapping the screen, the results are in. He looked at us with that endless grin. One hand moved behind his back. And remember, he said, this is not the moment you want to hear your number. I didn't breathe. The air on that stage felt thinner somehow, like whatever oxygen we were allowed was being rationed through some sadistic filter. Sweat rolled down my spine, pooling at the waistband of my jeans, and my smile, still plastered on like a decal, had started to tremble at the corners. Penelope had stopped bouncing. I could feel her trying to keep it together, even as her knees shifted minutely. Her grin was still there, but it was tighter now. The kind of smile you wear when you've already heard the punchline, and it's a gunshot. The host, his face still half lost in shadow, tapped his sleek black tablet with theatrical flair. Let's see, he purred. Last place goes to number 6. He called it like a carnival barker announcing the winner of a teddy bear. And somewhere far too close to me, I heard a quiet "what" from a man's voice. Bang! The sound sliced through the air like a whip laced with razors. My whole body flinched hard, eyes snapping toward the middle of the arc. Platform 6. Now he was on his knees, swaying slightly, a neat, perfect hole carved right between his eyes. Blood streamed down his face in a lazy, unhurried line. He tipped forward like a marionette with its strings severed. Penelope screamed beside me. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. Another shot. Bang! I jerked so hard I nearly fell off my platform. Platform 2, a woman in a glittery gold dress had tried to step off, maybe to run, maybe to help, maybe just to not be there anymore. Didn't matter. Her head snapped back violently, heels skittering across the stage, and she crumpled like dropped laundry. Her dress shimmered under the lights as her body hit the floor with a soft, horrifying thud. I pressed my hand to my mouth, breathing through my fingers. The taste of my own panic was sharp, copper and bile. The host laughed. "Oh no," he said, mocking and disappointed. "Remember the rules, folks. No stepping off your platform." The room was dead silent, even the audience. But somehow their silence was worse than screams. It felt intentional, like they'd seen this before. The host tapped again. "And finally, our third elimination," he said cheerfully, like he was spinning a prize wheel. "Number 11. I didn't know her, but I watched her die. Her knees buckled instantly. 1 second standing, the next, a lifeless heap inches from my platform. Her eyes were still open, glassy. And then, without fanfare, without even the grace of a curtain drop, a small crew dressed head to toe in green screen morph suits strolled onto the stage. No one acknowledged them. They stepped over the blood, over the bodies, dragging them off like they were removing scenery. Blood smeared across the stage like it was part of the design. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw up. I wanted to run until my lungs gave out. But I stayed standing, because I remembered the rules, because now I understood the rules. No stepping off the platform, no hesitation. Smile for the cameras, do not scream. The host spun in place, arms out like a deranged conductor. The blood behind him glistened. "Well, now that we've warmed up," he beamed, "let's spice things up a bit, shall we?" No one moved. No one breathed. The stage floor shifted, just slightly beneath our feet. You wouldn't notice it if you weren't already terrified. But I felt it. The mechanical hum beneath the surface. Something moving, preparing. The host clapped twice, and a velvet bag was brought out by one of the silent, smiling assistants. Of course it was velvet. It's always velvet in nightmares. "This next round is a favorite of mine," the host said. "A little teamwork, a little democracy, a little betrayal." His eyes glittered. "You'll reach into this bag and pull a ball, red or black. That's your team. 5 versus 5. He turned to us with a grin. "Losing team gets to choose 3 of their own to eliminate. Vote wisely, darlings." I felt the air leave my lungs. This wasn't a game. It never had been. There were no prizes, no audience polls, no second chances. Just rules and consequences. And I had the sinking feeling this was only round 1. I reached into the velvet bag like it might bite me. I fumbled for a second, then pulled one free. Red. I exhaled, barely. Penelope held hers up 2 platforms down. Black. Our eyes met, and she gave me the tiniest smile. Not happy, not scared, just resigned, like she already knew how this would go. "Red balls to the left," the host chirped. "Black balls to the right. And yes, this is the only time you're allowed to step off your platform without having your brain redecorated across the stage. Lucky you." I didn't wait for a second invitation. I moved, fast, like stepping off the edge of a cliff. The floor underfoot felt strange, like it pulsed once beneath my boots, then settled. My team came together like puzzle pieces that didn't quite fit. Number 10, concrete jaw, ex-footballer energy. Number 9, a girl with neon pink hair, combat boots, and eyes that said she'd seen worse. Number 5, twitchy, wore a lab coat like it was armor. Why? No clue. Number 1, tall, still as a blade, the kind of woman who gives keynote speeches and never spills her latte. We didn't speak, we just nodded, because this wasn't about friendship, this was survival. Across from us, Penelope stood with her team. Number 3, mid-40s, dad bod, already sweating bullets. Number 4, sleek, sharp, power suit energy. The kind of smile you file under guillotine. Number 7, young, wide-eyed, looked like she'd just stepped out of a college dorm. Number 8, curly-haired, quiet, with a posture that said, "Don't mess with me," even though her eyes screamed, "Please don't make me do this." The host strolled between us like we were 2 teams on Family Feud, not 5 seconds from bloodshed. "This round," he announced with his signature sparkle, "is called the Mindbender. 10 questions, 1 minute each. Discuss, decide, press the button. Oh, and genius isn't required, just agreement." He gestured to a red button that had silently risen from the center of our platform arc. It pulsed, patient. "Team with the most correct answers wins," he sang. "Losers, well, they get to play something extra special." His grin widened. Democracy. The lights above us dimmed. The screen behind him glowed white. Question 1. What is the only number whose number of letters equals its value? 4, I said instantly. It's 4. CEO lady. Number 1 nodded. She's right. Push it. Concrete jaw slammed the button. Correct. A breath in. 1 down. Question 2. What principle in quantum physics states you can't know both the position and velocity of a particle? Lab coat twitched. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Button. Correct. And just like that, we clicked. Somehow, despite our wildly different energy, we worked. Riddles, science, ancient history, obscure facts. I got one about Shakespeare. Lab coat crushed physics. CEO knew Latin. Pink hair guessed a mythology question and was somehow right. 10 minutes blurred by in a frantic, whispered rhythm. Final question faded. Silence. Then, the host. Well, he said, checking his tablet. One team clearly had their Wheaties. He turned to Team Black, Penelope's team. And one team, he paused, gets to choose. The words hit like a hammer. On cue, 5 pedestals rose behind them, one for each black team member. Each held a glossy black tablet, glowing softly like polite death. 3 rounds. 3 votes, the host said. 3 unfortunate souls. Penelope didn't blink. Number 3, the nervous dad type, spoke up, voice cracking. Wait, hold on, we didn't know. Round 1, the host interrupted cheerfully. They didn't speak, didn't argue, they just tapped. 3 votes for number 3. Wait, he stammered, backing up. I know I messed up, but come on. Bang! He collapsed backward, blood spraying across the back of the stage like a bad art installation. One leg twitched once, then nothing. Number 7 let out a strangled sob. Round 2, said the host with 0 pause. Number 4 leaned into Penelope's ear, whispered something. Number 7 watched them, nervous, hopeful. Penelope smiled at her, a soft, reassuring smile. My stomach dropped, votes tapped. 3 lights lit under number 8's pedestal. She flinched. Are you kidding me? Bang! She hit the floor. Fast, silent, no screams, just dead weight and a splash of red. 1 vote left. Penelope and number 4 turned to number 7. She froze. No, please, I didn't. Penelope's face didn't change. 3 taps. Bang! Number 7's body slumped forward, arms spread, eyes wide. Just like that, Penelope and number 4 stood alone. And I couldn't stop shaking, because my best friend had just orchestrated 3 deaths like it was a networking brunch. She didn't flinch, didn't cry, she didn't even look surprised. She looked ready. And I started to realize something that would haunt me far more than the blood. Penelope wasn't just surviving, she was playing. We returned to our platforms like prisoners on a leash. Penelope was beside me again, platform 12. I was still on 13. Of course, our eyes met for a split second. I couldn't read her. Not anymore. Something in her face had calcified. Gone was the grinning girl who once sang karaoke with a crying Netflix actor. In her place was someone I didn't know. Someone who could kill with a vote and call it strategy. The host clapped once, sharp, eager. Now then, my dear, darling contestants, it's time for a fan favorite. He gestured to center stage. With a low rumble, the floor split open and rose again. From beneath came something massive and gleaming. A bingo cage. Brass-colored, oversized, glinting under the lights like it belonged in a haunted Vegas casino. Inside, black balls with white letters clattered with each slow spin. The sight of it made my stomach twist. Welcome, the host beamed, to Midnight Bingo. A jingle played overhead, something peppy and absurd. It sounded like it was made by a children's choir, in hell. You all know how this works, he said, pacing. You all know how this works, he said, pacing. There are 4 safe spots, 7 of you, the unlucky 3? Well, you know the drill by now. A green-suited assistant handed each of us a bingo card and a stubby red marker. Mine was stiff, cheap, and weirdly heavy. I glanced down at the card. The paper was rough, almost leathery. Let the games begin, the host cried, spinning the cage. The first ball dropped with a clink. B12, I marked it. Second ball, N41. Third, G58. Beside me, Penelope hadn't marked anything in 2 turns. Her hand was shaking, or maybe twitching. Either way, I didn't like it. More numbers, more frenzied breathing. Sweat ran down my neck. I-17. I got that one too. My hand started to cramp from how tightly I was holding the marker. 7th number, 066. Bingo, someone shouted. It was number 4, the Ice Queen who had co-piloted Penelope's voting spree. She waved her card like a banner. The host strutted over, checked it with a lazy glance, and gave her a polite bow. You, my dear, may breathe a little easier. She stepped back toward a glowing safe zone, marked by a velvet rope and a miniature red carpet. Like it was the Oscars. Like this whole thing wasn't a meat grinder. 10th ball, B5. Bingo, came another voice. Number 1. He looked dazed, like he couldn't believe it himself. He stumbled into the safe zone. 2 chairs filled, 2 left. Just me, Penelope, number 9, number 10, and number 5 still clinging to hope. The 15th ball dropped. G34. Bingo! Penelope cried out, her voice cracked, like the sound itself had to fight its way out. She raised her card with shaking hands. The host strolled over, examined it. Safe, he said simply. She stepped into the safe zone and stood like a statue. Now it was down to me, number 5, number 9, and number 10. 4 people, 1 chair. Ball 16. N22. It was my last box, the final square. I hesitated for half a second, then shouted, Bingo! But before the word even finished, Bingo! Echoed beside me. Number 10, same second, same voice. The host froze, then slowly turned. "Ah, we have a tie," he said, delighted. "But statistically someone's lying." He approached me first, glanced down at my card, said nothing, just gave me a long, unnerving stare that burned like acid. Then he turned to number 10. Examined the card. Number 10's head snapped back, blood sprayed like a broken sprinkler. He crumpled backward, his chair clattering as he fell. Dead, just like that. No explanation, just bang. I stood frozen, covered in his blood. A warm drop slid into my mouth. It tasted like iron and finality. Before I could recover, bang, bang. 2 more shots, number 5, number 9, executed mid-breath, no warnings, no reasons. Green suits swept in, dragged the bodies away like misplaced props. The blood smeared across the stage in streaks of red-black ink. I stood there, breathing hard, drenched in someone else's death. And across from me, Penelope was watching. Not smiling, not crying, just watching. Like she was calculating something, like maybe she had a plan, and I didn't know if I was part of it or just the next obstacle in her way. The host clapped, breaking the silence like glass. "Well then," he beamed. "We've had brains, we've had luck. Now, let's see what happens when we add a little muscle." The floor shifted again. Our platform sank into the stage with a mechanical hiss, revealing a wide, polished arena floor. The host laughed. "Welcome to musical chairs." A murmur rippled through the audience like a low wave. "But let's make it fun," he said, eyes twinkling. "No rules. It's only fair, right?" What the actual hell does that mean? 3 chairs were dragged out by green suits, dropped into the center like meat for lions. There were 4 of us left. Me, Penelope, number 1, number 4. "Round 1, the host shouted, pressing a button. Pop music blasted from overhead. We walked in a tight circle, stalking the chairs like wolves in cocktail dresses. Then the music stopped. I dove, landed hard, secured a seat. Penelope dropped into one beside me, panting. Behind us, screaming. Number 1 had tried to sit, but number 4 got there first. And he snapped. He lunged at her, fists swinging. She didn't flinch, she welcomed it. Grabbed him by the throat, slammed his head into the floor, again, until there was no more movement. Then she calmly sat down, blood soaking her blouse. The host clapped politely. "We love a competitive spirit." The chairs were reset, this time, only 2, just me, Penelope, number 4. The music started. I didn't breathe. Penelope didn't blink. We walked in a circle. Blood still warm beneath our feet. Music stopped. I spun, reached for a chair, but number 4 yanked me backward by my hair. I stumbled, knees cracked against the floor. She dropped into the seat. Penelope didn't pause. She punched her, square in the nose. Number 4 howled, grabbed her by the throat. They grappled. Fists, screams. I stood, dizzy, saw the opening. I ran, tackled number 4 from behind. Together, Penelope and I, we beat her down, kicked, hit, elbows, fury, until she didn't move. Until her leg twitched once, then went still. Silence. We stood panting, covered in blood. Ours, hers, everyone's. And I looked at Penelope. No words, just breathing. We were the last 2 standing. The blood on my hands wasn't mine. It was warm, sticky, clinging to the creases of my fingers like guilt in liquid form. My breath came in shallow bursts, more panting than breathing. Penelope stood beside me, bruised, bleeding, but upright. We didn't speak. We didn't have to. Because we both knew what came next. The host practically glowed as he stepped forward, like this whole night had been foreplay for this very moment. "And now, ladies and gentlemen," he purred, arms wide like a magician revealing his grand finale, "your winners." Applause thundered from the invisible audience. I didn't move. Penelope didn't smile. We just stood there, knees aching, hearts fraying. The host tilted his head with a mock pout. "Aw, don't be shy. Smile for the cameras. You're both stars tonight." I forced a twitch of a grin. Penelope didn't even try. "But wait," the host said, turning toward the crowd with glee. "We're not done just yet, are we?" The crowd erupted, laughed, clapped. He leaned into the mic like he was letting them in on a secret. "The final round is a fan favorite." He let the words hang. "Russian roulette." I went cold. Green-suited stagehands moved like ghosts across the floor, dragging 2 chairs onto center stage, across from each other. Between them, a small black pedestal. On top, a revolver, polished, heavy, real. The host's voice dropped into something softer, more reverent. "1 bullet in the chamber, 1 winner." He gestured at the setup like it was some sacred altar. "No rules, girls, just choice. If you prefer, we can let the audience vote. But," he grinned, "we like it when you decide." Penelope turned to me slowly. Her face was blood-streaked, but under it all, I saw it again, that flicker of something unspoken, of memory. She was still my Penelope, somewhere under all the blood. We sat, opposite each other. The chairs groaned beneath us like they didn't want to be part of this. The host chuckled. "Let's keep it civilized, shall we? Rock, paper, scissors, winner goes first." Penelope's lips curved into something tired, almost amused. "Really?" I whispered. "Really," she whispered back. We lifted our hands, shaking, bleeding. "Rock, paper, scissors, I won." I closed my eyes, my fingers curled around the revolver. It was heavier than it looked, cold like betrayal. I lifted it to my temple. The silence was a living thing. Click. Empty. I gasped, shocked I could still be relieved. I passed the gun to her, barely able to hold it steady. She held it with both hands, whispered something I couldn't hear. Empty. My turn again. I nearly dropped it, my hand shaking so violently it felt like it had a pulse of its own. Click. Still empty. I passed it to her with a sob caught in my throat. Penelope took it gently. Her hands were ice. Her lips moved. "I'm sorry," she said softly. Then she put the barrel to her mouth and pulled the trigger. Bang! Blood hit my face like a kiss from the abyss. Her body fell forward, into me. I caught her. The way I'd caught her 100 times before. After too many drinks, after bad dates, after heartbreak. Only this time she didn't laugh, she didn't breathe. She just slumped into my arms, heavy and final. I rocked her, sobbing into her blood-soaked hair, fingers tangled in her jacket. My best friend, my sister in chaos, my +1 to hell. And she was gone. I didn't hear what the host said next. Something about surprises, something about a twist. The crowd erupted again, cheering. Footsteps approached. A man climbed onto the stage. Another suit, slick hair, dead eyes. The host greeted him like an old friend. "Congratulations," he crowed. "You've won the honor of ending tonight's show." My head jerked up, my face streaked in blood and disbelief. He stopped in front of me and looked down, tilted his head. "I liked you," he said softly. "You were fun to watch." Then he raised the gun to my head and smiled.